So we have a lot of people who want to build extensions for Bits, build their own extensions or build an extension which they're going to share or maybe sell in the marketplace. And to set them up on a good footing, so they have a good code base, which is nice and clean, Vladstan has built this incredible extension builder, which I'm going to be taking a look at now. The extension which I'm going to be building is a fundraising extension. So to create a fundraising campaign, which donators can come along to and then pay some sats towards a fundraising of something. That's the extension I'm going to be making. I'm going to see how quickly I can make it using this incredible new extension builder we've got. So first you give your extension a name, fundraise, and then an extension ID, which is generally lowercase version of the name. Short description, create fundraising campaigns. And then a description. I'm going to be lazy. Just pop that in there. Now, some extensions have like a global settings. CoinFlip has this as an example, where you can limit the amount which you can create coin flips for, the amount of sats which you can create a coin flip for. I'm not going to use this in this extension, so I'm just going to disable that. Generally, extensions have two types of data. They have the owner data to create some public page, and then they have the client data, which is where someone inputs a form and it creates a payment, and then that's usually the client data. This is 90% of all extensions work this way. So with the extension builder, it's really a way just to get you started, and then you can work into the extension and add all the features which you want to add. But it will help you make the models and the migration scripts for it and all the files you need in order to have a nice clean extension. So for my owner data here, I'm going to have name. I'm also going to have a description for a fundraising campaign. Neither of those are going to be optional. I'm going to have an image, and that is going to be optional. Wallet. So this is where the funds are going to go. And we have all these different types already built into the extension builder. And most extensions have like a wallet select, for example. That's not optional. And then what's the other thing I need? I'm going to have a target. So the amount I'm trying to raise. That's not optional. I'm going to have amount raised. This is going to be an ongoing tally of how much I've raised. Amount raised. And that's not UI editable. So I don't want to see that in the UI. This is going to be something we're going to see on the front end and then update when there's a payment. And then what else do I need? Currency. We have a currency select here. That's not optional. UI editable. So now I can refresh the preview. Click on new owner data and we'll get a preview of what it'll look like. So we've got name, description, image, which is optional, wallet, target, that's not very descriptive. So target amount to raise. Let's refresh that. There we go, it's better. Now the next thing we're going to set is the client data. So we're going to let people leave a name and a little message if they want to. Name's not optional, but we'll make the message optional. And then an amount. It's how much they're actually going to donate to the cause. And that's not optional. and then paid. This is a paid flag as a Boolean. So we know when they've paid. And it's optional. Yeah, it's optional. I'm going to click next. Oh, not UI editable. Let's have a little look. Okay. And then this is our public page. So we're going to select the name and description from our owner data. The page inputs, we're going to have name, message, amount, and then paid is a flag we're going to use internally, so we're not going to use that. Create payment logic. So the owner data wallet, that's where the funds will go. The currency selection is where the currency is. Amount is going to be from owner data. No, client data and amount. And the paid flag from client data. No, I just thought of something. I should change these table names, shouldn't I? So I'll call that campaigns. And then I'll call client data. Let's call it users. Okay, it's all looking good. And that's it. There's two options. You can either download a zip of the extension and then upload it to your repo if you want to, or you can just build and deploy it directly into your LMBits install, which I'm going to do now. And that's it, it's installed. So if I go over to extensions, there's my fundraise extension. I'll open it up. I can create a new campaign. What should the campaign be for? Make a extension builder tutorial. It's a bit of an inception there because I'm actually making the extension builder tutorial. Pay me to make an extension builder tutorial. Image. Now, this is something we wrestle with in extensions in LMBits because you can have multiple users who are using an extension and you don't want them just like DDoSing your database with loads of images. So for most extensions, we just say just use an image URL and show that. But we have got some stuff in the pipeline for being able to figure out ways of having an uploadable image possible in an extension. But for now, we're just using an image URL. So I'm no idea what image to put for that, so I'm not going to put an image in there. Or maybe I should. Let me just put a placeholder. Placeholder. That'll do. Oh yeah. Okay. Target amount to raise, 100 sats. Great. So then we click on this. All right, so things like the image, we need to work into this public front end page here to make it look pretty. I might add like a progress bar as well to it, so we can see how much we've raised. So I'm going to want to open up my editor. I'm using VS Code here. And go to my extension. Now we're going to be editing this public page, which is called public page. First thing I want to do is swap over these two cards because I want the form to be on this side. So I'm going to take this card here. I'm going to pop him over there. There we go. And let's have a little look at the payment logic, shall we? Oh, my image didn't show up. Oh yeah, of course I haven't actually added it yet. Okay, so page description, image, and then let's have a look at this. Public page, image URL, blah, blah, blah. All right, Copilot trying to help me there. Now, I'm not passing that to my public page, so I need to pass that to my public page. So maybe I should quickly go over what some of these files are, shall I? So views, these are your different pages. So you have your backend page here, your admin page, and then this is your public page. And then views API, these are all your API endpoints for your extension, which have all been built for you. Look at that, isn't that great? And of course, you know, people use extensions natively in LM-Bits, but then they also build applications on top of them using their APIs. We have a tasks file. This generally runs when a payment happens. We run a function. So the function we're running is this, which is in services. So we can do some extra stuff in here when the payment goes through. Pardon me. And then if we go to models, extensions are model-led. And this is why it's great to use the extension builder, because you have nice clean models for your extension. Of course, you can add stuff to here if you want to, but you'll also need to add it to your migration scripts, which have also been generated for you. And then helpers, we're not really using this. A description, this is for the little more button when you click on the extension card in the extensions part of LM-Bits. The CRUD is the file which talks to the database for this extension, so each extension has its own database. And yeah, this is where you add and edit and delete records from the database. And then we have a config file where you can add in, you know, who built the extension and then some images, again, for that little more card in the extensions part of LM-Bits. I'm not going to do that stuff because it will take a little bit more time. And then in static here, we have our JavaScript for our backend, which we're not going to touch. And then also images as well, like the logo, which again, you can also change. So we're going to add this image URL to the front end. And in order to add it to the front end, we need to go grab it from the back end. So public image URL. Hopefully Copilot will figure it out for me. There we go. Well done. Now, we all use AI to help us build and speed up our work, but don't vibe code an entire extension or vibe code too much, because it is slop. And it's much harder to get through vetted extensions. It's much harder for people to review as well because the code's so messy. Now, if we're just editing a front-end page, we can just do a refresh of the page and it will show up. But if we edit any of those files in the back end, we're going to need to just restart the server, so it will load all that stuff fresh. No, nothing happened. Oh yeah, of course. Because I didn't actually... because I'm doing a VF, so if the image doesn't exist, I don't want to show this image. I'm going to pass the image as a prop rather than just inject it straight into the page. There we are. That should work. There we go. Sweet. Nice. That worked well. Let's look at the payment logic. Oh. Okay, creates an invoice. And then when we pay the invoice, we get a tick. Now I actually want some of this as a dialogue rather than in this happening all inside this card. So I'm going to have a look at another extension and then steal the dialogue element from it. So it's kind of useful if you've got a couple of extensions already installed and you can just go. So if I go into my coin flip extension here, I can go to my front end page. Here we go. I've already selected it. This is the dialogue I'm going to use. So this is a little pop-up in the page rather than having all that stuff happen in the card. So I'm just going to pop that in there. And then if I look here, there's all these VFs for that card. I don't need the tick thing, so I'm just going to delete that. And then for this payment request here, yeah, I'll copy that. That there. And then delete that. Okay, so we have a card. So I'm just going to plop that in there. I don't want this bit at the top. Just want the QR code. And now we have this extra prop here we need to make. Yeah, well done, Copilot, you figured it out. So now in our payment logic, we create a payment and then we set this payment request here with the data from the payment request. So this is a nice place for me to say, yeah, there we are, show the QR code. And then in the WebSocket, when it gets back, the payment has cleared. It was setting just this prop to true to change the card, but now I'm just going to change it to false, so it'll close the dialog. All right, so if I refresh that, oh, that's not good. It's not really telling me very much, is it? Let's have a look. What have I messed up? Okay, we have QR code, dialog, payment request. That's right. Why are you complaining? Oh, I know. I think, maybe. Could it be this fee else? Let's try it. Yeah, it was. I don't need this users thing here. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So Phil comes along and then please make the extension. Gives me 5 sats. Nice. We have a dialog. Copy that. Let's pay it. Ah, there we are, and the dialog closed. Very cool. And if we go in the back end, we can see these payments coming through. Now, we want to update this amount raised. So every time there's a payment, it'll update. And I'm going to do that in services. So this is triggered by the task here or on invoice paid. This function is triggered. So I'm going to go into services and I'm going to say, okay, once we've got users there, campaign, get campaigns by ID, users, campaigns ID, yep. And then, yep. And campaign amount raised. Nice. Update users, that doesn't look right. Update campaign, that should be. Let's have a little look at CRUD, shall we? Update campaigns. I need to add that in my imports from CRUD. All right, so what's this doing? Let's see if Copilot got this right. So we're saying the amount raised should be, so get the attribute amount raised or 0. Yeah, because amount raised. Oh yeah, look. So amount raised could be none. So it's saying if it's none, then be 0. It's kind of hacky, but whatever. And and then plus users amount. That's not right. That should be payment. Plus payment amount. But that'll come back as millisats. So I'm going to divide it by 1,000. Okay. All right. So we're going to, yeah. So get amount raised from the campaign. Add the payment amount divided by 1,000. And then update the campaign using the update function. Let's try it. Again, I'm going to have to restart the server. All right, let's give it a whirl. Yay. Nice. Nice. So we've got amount raised and we've got target amount raised. Now, I'm going to give myself a little challenge. I'm going to try and add one of them little progress bars to this. So we use Quasar as our front end framework, which is basically Vue, but it just means that all the UI ties together nicely. And everyone who uses Quasar ends up just sticking with it because it's great. So I'm going to get a linear progress bar. Shall I try and do one with a little percentage thing? I probably should, shouldn't I? Let's try it. All right, so I'm going to copy this. And in my front end page here, I'm going to have it at the top above this thing. So public page. I'm going to stick it here. And I've got a couple of props to make here. So I've got a progress prop. Set that as 0, it's correct. Set the label as, yeah, correct. Now there's a few things we need to get past to the front end here. So we need, yeah, we are. Oh, no, not progress. Public page target. There we are. Amount raised, very good. Yep, good. I quite like the all 0 thing it was doing there. That's good. Because remember that amount raised could actually be none. And then, so what we got? Public page target, public page amount raised. Public page target amount raised. Woo. Target. Now let's see if that works. It's probably going to error. Yeah. What don't you like? Public page target, public page. All right, okay. Didn't restart. That's probably it. Yeah. Oh, we've got a bar. That's cool. 100. Nice. Okay, so I'm passing the target and amount raised. And now I need to set the progress on page. I'll just do it on page load. So this, but it's confusing. Dot progress equals this. I guess it would be target divided by. How's this linear? Let's check. Okay, so the linear progress bar, yeah, uses floats. Divided by the amount raised. I want the little percentage thing. Okay. Let's try it. There we are, 2000%. That's not right, is it? Is it the other way around? My maths is terrible. Ooh. Nice, 5% raised. There we are, that works. So you can see how quickly you can create an extension using the extension builder. Then you can fit around with it, get it to how you want to look. Probably things I'd work into this next would be getting these names and messages under the form here. And then that's probably it for the front end. I think that's kind of it for the front end. You've got the title, you've got the description, you've got the image, and then people can pay and then have their thing come up here. I'd probably as well either make this a computed function or add this to when the payment comes back to update live for the user, because it's kind of nice when someone pays to have the little bar thing go up. And then what else would I do? I suppose, yeah, in the actual extension itself, it makes sense to go through and just delete stuff you're not using. So for example, what am I not using? I think there's a helpers file. Yeah, I'm probably not using this helpers file. I could probably just delete this. And then, of course, change the logo. Go to config.json here and then add some images and then work into the description.md. That's the thing which is pulled. So when you go to the extensions page here, and then you click on an extension on the more button, and it comes up with this thing. You've got, in this one, you've got a YouTube video and you've got some pictures of the extension, how it works. Then you've got a little description here. All that stuff's nice to have. You add all that stuff here in the config and then also in the description.md, and then also work on the README, of course. And then once you've done that, just upload all those files to a repo, create a release. Once you've created a release, you'll need to change the manifest. So at the moment that says LMBits, you'll change that to the name of your, for me it's ArcBTC or whatever your organization is, where your repo is. Then you can pass that manifest to somebody and they'll just be able to install it into their LMBits and test your extension. And if you want to submit it to vetted, then go over to the LMBits vetted extension repo, which is LMBits extensions. And then in there's some details on how to create a hash of that release, which you then submit with the extension. You say whether you want it to be paid or free. And then we can get it in the vetted extension list and other people can use it and play around with it. So that's it. You saw how quick it was to make an extension. Thank you, Vladstan, for building such a cool tool. And as I said, like, we all use AI and it helps us build, but don't vibe code entire extensions and try and submit them. It's slop. We've had a few people do that and they're impossible to review and they just get rejected. Anyway, thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.